Welcome back to Boruto Anime Review Episode 219. This is the 219th episode of the series, Return. Now, this episode covers the rest of Chapter 55 and most of Chapter 56. There's actually at least a small chunk of the chapter cut out, mostly related to character code. I will get to him. The episode starts off with not a cold opening. Yeah, 2 episodes in a row, no cold opening for the series. Yeah, for a long time, they've always had cold openings for the series. And for 2 episodes in a row, we had a cold opening. And in the case of this episode, So, so basically, Boruto trying to figure out a way to go back home. Obviously. So, they basically have it where he initially can't activate the card because he basically doesn't know how to activate. He just does it completely random. And then, of course, Sasuke points out that he can't use the Rinnegan because he got stabbed in the eye. Yeah, they took away that power from him for some reason. I'm not really sure why. In the case of Kurama, the reason... Now, there's a theory I've heard of the reason why. Now, the chapter itself, from what I heard when they had a change, I think it was year 55, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was 55, where that was written by Kishimoto. Because he decided to replace the original writer. And this comes off the fact that he had done his own manga while this was going on, of course. He did, of course, Samurai 8. That got canceled due to low sales, so he figured, okay. But then he hears probably a rumor that they want to kill off Naruto himself, a character he spent 15 years creating and developing. And he's like, oh no, we're not going to kill off Naruto. We're going to kill off Kurama. Which there is some side effects here. Which they do bring up in the episode, which the manga does not bring this up at all. Yeah, there is some deviations from the manga here, where they have scenes put in here where it's like, it's not there in the manga. As a matter of fact, there are two scenes. There are a few scenes they make some changes to. For instance, there's one particular scene that features Sadara, Mitsuke, and the current lineup for the Iko Cho incarnation. Yes, they actually changed locations of where the heck they are, which I'll get to that. And they change, there's actually one scene in the episode where the dialogue is from two different characters, and they get this dialogue to complete different characters that are not these characters. Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird. So we have Boruto trying to figure out using it, of course, Kuwanagi argue with him, and then eventually things are activating, and then, of course, excuse me, that thing activates. Now, in the manga, Sasuke's like, jeez, kids. In the anime, he doesn't say that at all, which I'm kind of glad that he does, because I thought it was kind of stupid for him to say, because he himself was a kid. And what happens next is mostly from the manga itself, where you have Shikamaru basically being related to information. They do cut a couple lines of dialogue from the scene, but it doesn't really hurt at all. So then we see the four go straight to the Kage mansion, where the four actually are on top of the tower. And of course, they're there. Now in the manga, they never got there. They basically added that particularly to the anime. And Shikamaru told him, okay, you can go home and get treated. But once you're done with that, you get a debrief. And okay, you can do that. And of course, Sadara is there along with Mitsuke. Sadara is shocked to see her father lost an eye. Boruto admits the fact that he did it to her. And he said to her, feel free to punch me anytime you want to for doing that. Because of how strong she is. And because of the fact she inherited her mother's infamous anger. But she doesn't do that. Nope. And of course, she can kind of see the fact that, yes, it's kind of his fault, but not really per se. So she goes along with it. And the four take in the hospital. Now in the case of Sasuke, he can no longer use the Rinnegan. Yeah, it's gone. And in the manga, they don't really go into this all. It's just gone now. Okay. They have only gone into detail in the case of Naruto. They never give his physical condition in the manga. This is something they added to the anime, where like he knew that the superhuman chakra is completely gone, and according to Sakura, he can't do the stuff he did before, like those infamous jutsu he knew, like the giant Rasengan. He can't do that anymore. Basically, he can still use jutsu per se, but he can't use it to the level he was doing before. Basically, he's equivalent of a regular level shinobi. He can still do all the moves and all the jutsu, no problem, except he can't do the same level before. And Naruto was like, I kind of suspected that. And he kind of felt it was cheating when he was using it. So, and of course, in the case of Boruto and Kawanaki, this is the first change they make here, where they actually change location of this conversation. In the manga, like right after it's revealed that Boruto's got the whole thing with the karma, yeah, in the manga they're on top of the Okage Mount when they have this conversation. In the anime, it's on top of the hospital, which is a few times they've done this. In the case of this series, I think they've done it once or twice before, because the first time officially they did this was actually when Sasuke left the village. That was the first time he ever actually had something like this happen. So, and then right after this, and then we have Naruto being debriefed by Shikamaru, Sai, and Armando, which here's the first big change they make here. The dialogue is exactly the same as the manga, except here's the change here. They changed the characters who gave out the dialogue. Because in the manga, it mentions about code and some of the other stuff here. Now, some of the stuff that Naruto does say in this scene, he actually a little bit early in the manga. They say it for this scene a little bit later, which I thought was good. But the stuff here about code, yeah, it was actually Kawanaki who said that in the manga, not Armando. They mentioned the fact that he is a reject. Now, of course, what happened afterwards, right after they arrived back in the village, we didn't have the code scene, which we had just before this. They had a little bit later in the anime than they did in the manga. Where in the case of Code, his thing for this episode is that he's sleeping next to Ten Tails, and then he has this brief conversation with Ishin, which I do appreciate. They keep the fact from what I could tell, they kept all the dialogue in from what I could tell. But here's the thing. Right after the scene, like right after he talks to Ishin, of course he has a little mark, he goes right back to sleep, and he's never seen the rest of the episode. Here's the thing, in chapter 56, he actually does something in chapter 56, which the anime cut out. Yes, they cut completely the whole thing out of the whole thing with code. For a good reason, because those pages they cut here are actually set up for the very next arc of the series. Yep. Yes, they are. Yep, it is by far set up for the very next arc. And with this episode, yeah, they pretty much have wrapped up this arc. Yep, they have. Because 56 actually is kind of the start of the aftermath of, well, yeah, it talks about the aftermath of the previous arc of the series. Excuse me. Yeah, 56 actually comes from the start of the very next arc of the series, which is the Code arc. Yeah, it's like you can kind of say it's partially adapted here, like a little bit of chapter 56, but that's mostly they keep like a lot of stuff related to this arc, which is actually in the actual arc itself. So, in the case of what the anime covered here, like this has been going on since episode 188. Yes. So with this very episode, by the way, next episode, for what I can tell, does not adapt anything from the manga per se. I couldn't really tell because just Naruto talking to do a virtual 5 Kage summit. Yes, a virtual 5 Kage summit. I don't think this is from the manga. I don't know. I'll find out next week. But in the case of what happens, like right after, like after Boruto gets checked out from the hospital, he goes outside and he's ambushed by the media. Yep. And he goes on TV, and of course he talks a lot on TV. Now, this is another change they made here. You see, these characters, these 5 characters in the manga, they were in a completely different location, and they were watching this on a couch, and Satoru's holding a pillow. Here, they change it to where they watch this on the TV at the Thunderburger. Yes, the fast food place they've had frequently over the course of the series. I do have a theory of why they changed this to this particular point. My theory is the reason of this, that Thunderburger has been a frequent presence in the anime, so why not have the characters hang out here? They hang out here all the freaking time, so why the heck not? So, and of course, Satoru's immediate revelation, her reveal in this scene about what Shikamaru basically ordered, that because of the whole thing with the karma, Team 7 has been banned from all future missions until they deal with it. Satoru, of course, is the one who's actually mostly upset by this. Yep. Which, yes, this happened in manga too. And of course, they said to basically just call it off, just go home, whatever. And I think that's pretty much it. I do admit the changes they make here are fine. I don't have a really big issue with it per se. In the case of the whole thing with, now in the case of when Boruto is confronted by this, he's confronted by this while leaving the TV station. I think in the case of the manga, he was confronted at a different location about this. But one thing I thought was kind of, now it was great to see Sakura in this episode. It was great. Because here's the thing, she's not in the chapters they adapted for this episode. Nope, she was added in here. Yeah, it's one of those rare things where they add a character in who actually is not in the actual chapter itself, which don't have a problem with that at all. I mean, they're canon characters. They probably were there throughout the time of this arc, so makes perfect sense. I think so, anyways. But my final thoughts on what they did with the Kawaki arc itself, it was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't think it was a bad episode per se. I think the additions they made here made total sense. Yeah, they have pretty much been rocking the manga for quite some time. Yes. Like, I would say since episode 178. Where they've been just rocking it, basically just doing canon straight episodes. Since episode 178. So this has been going on now. They finally ended this now. After mostly about 41 straight episodes of canon stuff with like 3, like out of this 41 episode batch, 3 of this stuff was anime original content. Yep, where it was complete anime original content. So overall, there was only 38 out of 41 episodes that were straight from the manga, which is a lot. That's almost a year's worth of episodes. And they pretty much in the way, you can kind of say this is wrapped up here, mostly. Well, I could tell for next week, it looks like, though, we're going to deal with the aftermath of this. Well, also looks like, though, that from the preview I saw for next week's episode, looks like that Naruto and Sasuke are going to get into an argument, which hasn't happened since like, I don't know, part 2. And it looks like, though, that Boruto's going to have a heart-to-heart conversation with Naruto. I'm definitely looking forward to it, and, well, yeah. But in the case of Kurama, yeah, he's officially gone. He's dead. And as of currently, there's no plans to bring him back. Because here's the thing. The current arc, which is known as the Code Arc in the series, yes, the Code Arc, it's been going to chapter 56. I believe it's about 5 chapters in, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's 7. 7 chapters. Actually, it's more like 6 because Running does not come out. Isn't come out yet? No, this actually has not come out yet. No, I haven't seen anyways. But yeah, yeah. So mostly, there's roughly less than 5 chapters left for the manga. But in the case what the anime is going to do, I don't think they're going to go for the manga for quite a while. Because the stuff they adapted for the anime, this is something that people wanted to see for quite a long time. But maybe Parrot was waiting for a good number of material to be adapted for the episodes. That's my personal guess of the reason why they waited so long to do more canon stuff. I mean, the first time into anything canon related was the Meiji Bandits arc. And you're thinking, really? Yeah, really. That was the first time they actually covered something actually from the manga. Yeah, an arc that in the manga was 5 chapters that was adapted over the course of 11 episodes. Yep. That was the first time they actually did that. Where it's not like with the first one with Shiki arc, where it just basically rotation the movie would mix some stuff from the actual manga itself. Which yes, a lot of these episodes from this particular arc were adapted for the anime. I would say they probably covered like a lot of the stuff per se. Yeah, they slowly covered like a lot of like the manga very slowly per se. Yep. And yeah, they were kind of adapted from the manga for the first Momoshiki arc. But after that, it felt like though it took a long time. It took them like I would say about 2 freaking years to do more anime, to do more canon stuff. Yep. Well, that's mostly anyways. Yeah, but it's only like other stuff here. Yeah, but it took even longer between, almost as long as that between that and, of course, what happened with the current stuff. But yeah, that's a particular review. Stay tuned. Next week, we're going to be Comic Corner discussing a Wolverine theme trade and some issues of Punisher. Okay, take the video. Bye.